Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast. Thank you so much to my return visitors and my subscribers. Always appreciate you. If you are not a subscriber, please consider hitting that button. Gives me great opportunities to bring you great guests like Rick Jackett. Rick is an original member and guitarist for Canadian powerhouse rock band Finger 11. Finger 11. Nominated for 9 Juno Awards with 1 win. They have a SOCAN Award, a MuchMusic Award, and a whole bunch of other awards. They've had great chart success, and of course, their song Paralyzer, everybody knows it's part of every culture in the world, really. They have another record on November 7th. Rick and Finger 11 released a new full-length album called Last Night on Earth. It's on Better Noise Music. It's their 8th studio album and the first in 10 years. And we're going to talk about that with Rick. Hey, Rick, it is great to have you, man.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great intro. It makes me feel important.
Well, you are, man. You are. You've done a lot for us out here, man. We appreciate you. First album in 10 years. And I've heard you talk about that. I don't want to spend too much time on that hiatus, but it's a pretty long time. We've had COVID in there. You've got family. Everybody in the band has family, so it was kind of a reset, right? Do you recommend that for other bands? I see other bands struggling to produce all the time and get music out there, and the bands fall apart a lot of times. Is this a little bit of survival for the band?
Yeah, I would think so. And I think that without even knowing it, that's sort of what happened. We had just been doing it for so long. We started at a young age, and we'd had success, and we'd had a lot of opportunities. And next thing we knew, it was like almost 2.5 decades later, and we hadn't really come off the road. And as much as we enjoy it, it's like anything. It just drains it. You could be the water slide champion of the world, but after 20 years of water sliding, your back's going to be sore, and you can be like sick of the water and like whatever, right? So for us, there was just that thing. We came home. It was sort of like the end of a moment with our label windup. They had sort of gone away, and we found ourselves sort of like on our own, and we're from Canada. So we sort of went home, and next thing we knew, there was this enjoyment of being home and sort of like enjoying the things we had gathered, enjoying the success we had achieved, and just being able to set our roots a little bit. And that led into, families, children. Why, we had this thing, we were growing on our own time. But it also was continually inspiring the music, and the music writing and the making never stopped. It just slowed right down to this pace because we also didn't have a label. We didn't have anybody telling us, get this done. Right. We were on our own schedule, and that for us, that goes slow. So we took our time, and it was great. Honestly, it happened like how it had to happen. Now, would I suggest that for anybody else? Here's what I would say. If you're getting burnt out, it is better to stop than break it up. A lot of bands think, or even don't even have to announce your hiatus. You don't have to make some big drama out of it. It's like people that leave Facebook and they make a big post about, I'm leaving Facebook. It's like, just leave, it's just off Facebook if you don't like it. If you're in a band and it's not working, you can but you don't have to break up. You don't have to make everybody aware. You can just sort of, and that's what we did. But it's not a great business model, I would say. I don't think that the external management agent label side of things think it's a good idea, but for us it was super important, and we took advantage of it personally and creatively. We knew it was an opportunity, and we knew time was our ally, and we had this moment. And then, like you said, we were going pretty strong, and then COVID kicked in, and that just was add 2 years to it, right? Especially up here in Canada, everything shut down, and we lived just far enough away from each other that it really shut down. So it put a pause on things. But even then, there was writing being done. There was thoughts being, there was still stuff percolating. It just took a while to get it onto the tape,
Yeah. And it shows with this record. It is, I think it's your best, man. I really do.
Thank you. You know what? That's it. That we've had that compliment quite a bit, and that is a huge. I mean, man, for us at this point in our career to even hear that from one person, let alone many, it's a massive compliment because
and it's a compliment because the catalog's pretty damn great. It really is. You're really consistent, and there's just a lot of great material there. But this is just, it feels so Finger 11. It
That's
just,
awesome.
it really, really feels like this is you. And we've gotten that before, but it's really, it really feels like it's coming from the soul. This,
That's all. Well, I can honestly say it is, and there is that like we've always had our own bar for our own band that we raise, and every time we write something new, it raises a little bit, and we don't like to lower it. So I'd say in the past, there's been moments where we let it get a little too low, and so this one we were like not just the song, but the recording. And then it got to not just the recording, but the tones, not just the tones, but every single bar, not just every
right,
single bar, but every instrument, every single bar. And it just got that way. And once we did it for one song, it raised that song so high above the others that it was like, it was hot. And to be honest, we've made records like that before in the past, but they're difficult and they're hard and they take a lot of work and they're frustrating because you have to have a lot of, um, I wouldn't say arguments, but you have a lot of differing opinions on every single thing. So all
right,
of a sudden a hi-hat pattern can take a couple of days or like a bass line,
right,
and so it just takes longer. So a lot of times, your inner lazy voice wants to get, it's easier if you just all agree, yeah, that chord's cool. Let's
right,
just
right.
drum on this A chord for a while, that's a lot easier, but it's not as fulfilling in the long run, I don't think. And it's not as fun to listen to. So this record, we dug in, and we went there, and it took a while. But now, when I listen back, it sounds really purposeful to me, and
Yeah.
I enjoy that about it.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's really great. The writing process. You've been doing this a long time with the same guys, the same core
Yeah.
group. It's really great to see. And I would imagine that writing process has been about the same. Did it change with this record at all?
Not really. No, I mean, it's always been a very I'd say the easiest, simplest way to just describe the writing process of Finger 11 is, for the most part, it's we write the music, we give it to Scott, he writes the words and the vocals, and then a lot of times that becomes a song. Now on
Okay.
this one, there was a little bit more, hey, here's the musical idea, and he'd be like, hey, here's my vocal idea. Then we would get together and really be like, okay, his vocal idea is better than our musical idea. Let's change that, or vice versa. His vocal idea needs to come up, and there would be a lot of that. But Scott's always been the lyricist, so he's always been the wordsmith, and we've always been the musicians in the band. So on this one, it was still a similar thing. We focus on the music, and then but there was a lot more collaboration between the vocals and the music on this one. A lot more massaging them to make sure they fit perfectly. And then, but I would say on this record, there is an anomaly, and it's Wall Dogs, which is
Okay.
a song that our bass player, Sean, sort of, for the most part, wrote on his own. Lyric, melody,
Wow.
music. And it was one of the, and that's not a common thing in our world. Most of the
Yeah.
things are collaborative. So but as soon as he brought it, it was actually a neat thing because he had sent the band, this was probably like year 5 or 6, right? Like in the middle of the whole thing.
Okay.
And he had sent about 5 or 6 demos of songs he had just written on his own. And that one sort of stuck out to me personally. I just thought, hey, this is a cool one. This is different. And
Mhm.
we sort of surprised Sean by not telling him, but we took it and I got Scott to re-sing it and James to redo the guitars. And we made a full demo of the song. And then we gave it to him for Christmas. On Christmas
That's
morning, we
cool.
sent it to him. And he was blown away. And at that point, it was just an inner band little project. But as soon as Scott got on there and James started playing on it, there was this thing of like, holy, this is a Finger 11 song.
Yeah.
And that was so different from all the other Finger 11 that we had been doing at the time that it was enough to sort of like, this is exciting. If we can get 10 of these, 10 that are this good and this different, we can do something special again. So that was a big crux of the writing process, that Wall Dog song.
Man, that's cool. That's great to hear. And I got to break from the album and the music a little bit here because I looked at your Instagram page and I went to your wife's Instagram page. She is quite the woman. Whitewood Acres. There'll be a link. I start burping my cucumbers now.
Nice, nice.
And in more than 20 years of doing this and more than 1,000 interviews, I don't think I've ever had a guy who's got a pig for a house pet,
That's right.
blackberry, man, and a chicken. I want to ask about littles. Don't want to spend too much time, but how great is that, man? And I think about songwriting. Um, you know, you write so many different kinds of songs. Can you write, does it matter your surroundings? When you're in that world, in your family world, can you write a song like Adrenaline and then, write an easier going song, or, that country vibe? Does
Right.
it matter where you are?
I don't think so as far as my immediate surroundings. What does matter is the calmness of the surroundings. So if I'm relaxed and I don't feel any like, if I feel safe and I'm just like I can let my guard down and let my imagination flow. I can't tell you what's going to come out of there, if it's going to be heavy or soft, but that does tend to happen more here at this place because of that. These animals, they and my wife and my son, like they just there's a genuine real joy and peace of mind that comes from being here that I don't experience anywhere else except for on stage.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I mean, like I definitely see more of animals on a daily basis than people, and that's something that it's a dream come true in a lot of ways, because
Awesome.
not just because it's not like I don't like people. It's just that when I'm away and on the road, my life's inundated with people and strangers and a lot of and it's a lot of like stimulation, and I enjoy it. But it's nice. I used to go back to the city, and it didn't stop. You would just continue that sort of feeling, and it builds up and it builds attention. So being able to come out here, and I've got 20 acres, so at some point I can pop in the middle of my acres and no one's around me, and I can just sit there and listen to birds chirp, and that does a lot for my emotional mental tank to fill it up. So
No doubt, it has to, man, and that's I love the page, your wife's page. Is just
I'll let her know because that means a lot. She's really great at it. Not like, and one of my favorite things about her page, I don't know what it's like for other people, but I'm here, and like her page is exactly what our life is like. It's not like she's not got us like set up over here so it looks like this or do
right,
this. It's
right,
just like we're all throw out the camera because a funny moment happens and she posts it, and I think that's cool. And one of the cool things for me personally is that at the end of the day, not only is it putting this side of our life out there, but it also acts like an archive. And so already with a son, and we've been here for
yeah,
4 years, you look back and it's all there.
yeah,
I mean, it used to be like a
right.
photo album with like 10 photos in it. Now it's like hours and hours of these
Yeah,
activities and these experiences that we caught. So it's very cool.
it is, man. It is, and there'll be a link, like I say. Everybody should check it out for sure.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, absolutely.
Paralyzer. I want to address that a little bit. Huge hit. Everybody knows it. 500 million plays. Everybody. You can't not know it. Um, that's difficult though, because you have people that know the song, don't know the band, or they don't look past it, or they can't get past it. So it puts a little bit of a shadow on all this other great music. It's
Right.
like, please listen to something else from the band. It's incredible. Do you ever find yourself though chasing that song, maybe trying to write another one when you're writing, to capitalize on that attention?
Yeah, you know what? No, no. Honestly, we don't because we can't. Because that song was born the way every other song from our band is born. Just like what I was saying, just the music comes out. We don't know what's going to come out of us. That was one of those things. And Scott's lyrics on that were like his first pass. He just got this idea because the song had a funkiness to it to write about the awkward, because that's who we are. The irony of that song is that as that song got popular, like you said, it got popular in lanes that we normally weren't in. So
Right.
the irony was that a lot of during the rise of the popularity of Paralyzer was the first time we were actually as people put in VIP rooms in clubs,
Right.
and that's how we felt, like the way that the guy in the song
Yeah.
feels. That's exact, because we're not those kind of guys. We go to bars, not clubs,
Right.
And so all of a sudden we're in this VIP room and they're like, we're going to give you the first bottle for free, but you want another one? We're like, no, no, these things are like $400 each. Are you kidding me? Our bus is full of free booze, So like we to promote the record, we were thrown in, like that song took us places that never thought we would go as a rock band, and
Yep.
it continues to just shine. Like, like we felt good about the song from the demo stage. The label felt good about the song from the pre-record stage. They thought it was a good hit. When we recorded it on the record, we felt like, okay, we captured it. It's got a neat thing. And when it was released to a bigger fanfare and bigger success than we could have ever imagined. But I can honestly say that since then, the song seems to have gotten bigger than it was even then. And that is being a rock fan and being a fan of rock history, and just to know that we might have even created one of those ones that might get thrown in the barrel and remembered in rock music. That's one of those things that gives me goosebumps even talking to you right now, because I never dreamt of that. You know, I dreamt of getting on stage and having fans and selling records and all these things, but never accomplishing some kind of like success beyond the band itself. You know, that's exciting. So.
And it is. I mean, it's an iconic song, and it's gonna live forever. I mean,
and it does incredible things for us. So, like you're right about it. It sometimes is misleading to certain fans, but so is One Thing. You know, and I think that's the beauty of this new record, is that you can sort of be into the band for either one of those ideas or you know, songs and find something familiar here. You know, and that's. But that's just who we've always been, you know. And I think there's a certain percentage of people that do find out that we're not just like Paralyzer, or we're not just like One Thing, and they enjoy that. You know, I'm sure there's a lot that are like, I don't care about the rest. I'll just put this song on the playlist. But even that's incredible in this day and age, with the hundreds of millions of artists out there. To get our song picked and put on a playlist for someone to listen to by themselves with their family or something, that's amazing to us.
It is. It's very cool. I'm so glad that people caught on to that, for sure. The record, raw energy and heaviness to this record. There's also lighter pieces. It has that peaks and valleys, old school music thing, especially with the sequencing. That's important to you guys, isn't it?
It is. It's very important. It's very much deliberate. It's something that we've always embraced from the beginning. Like, we just know that you can't have heavy without soft. It's just, you can't, if everything is heavy all the time, then it's not heavy anymore. It's just the baseline. So to me, it's the dynamics are really important. And then just also our love of music. Like, if you were on the bus with us, odds are we're going to be listening to a lot more of the mellow side of the thing, like that you hear from us, than we are the heavy side. Like, you know, the heavy side is what comes out of us when we pick up guitars and we plug in our amps and we love to play and perform. But what we actually like to ingest is more like the mellow side of things. So I think for us, it's just always been something that we felt comfortable doing, even when it was uncomfortable to do. Like, even back in the 90s and early 2000s, when every band was, you know, they were buying guitar. Everybody's buying guitars with thicker and thicker, lower more strings, just to get lower and lower and lower. And we were like, just that's been our approach, you know. So
it's great.
And on this record, it's no different. And like, I think, like you said, like on this record, I think there's some of the heaviest riffs we've ever written. And I also think there's some of the softest, most prettiest moments we've ever written as well. So
totally. It's a full record for sure. It's a full adventure of a listen, from beginning to end.
That's awesome.
But you know, for me, there's a peak in this record, and I don't know how the mountain and Perfect Effigy set in the centerpiece there. They're two separate songs, but they're tied together, man. I can't listen to one without the other. And it's this beautiful, it's heavy, but it's this beautiful, I don't know what it is about those songs. They just pulse in my soul, those two songs. They set the table for the rest of the record, I think. What comes before them is
that's awesome. That's huge.
Yeah, and afterward is just tremendous. So you know, it sets the table, like I say, for the rest of the album for me. Were you trying to do anything specific with this record, with like songs like that kind of fit together? And you know, is that am I wrong on that? How's that feel for you?
No, you're right. The flow, like, so when we were making the record, there was definitely a discussion about, like, we got these heavy songs and we got some lighter songs. And I think pressure band from a feeling of like, I don't know, the balance is really important. So when we were putting the set list or the track list for the record together, we went through like 5 or 6 different track listings because we wanted that flow and that ride and those dynamics to be felt. And if you put too many in a row, it really can be a lull. And if you put too much heavy in a row, it can really get exhausting kind of thing. Right. So one of my favorite things about this and what you're talking about specifically was not an accident, because when we're such geeks when it comes to vinyls and stuff like that too. So where the decision, what you're talking about, actually came from the idea of like, what a great way to start side B with The Mountain and Perfect Effigy, you know, and we end side A with Last Night on Earth, which is a nice place to leave it. But I'm a fan of vinyl because sometimes sometimes side B is by far my favorite side of the record versus side A. And I think we were fortunate enough to create sort of 2 separate feeling sides on this record. And that was something that started with putting The Mountain as the beginning of side B. So,
yeah. Oh, it's great, man. I just love that in the center there. You know, I think back to the history of the band and Letters from Chutney. You know, Rainbow Butt Monkeys. Don't know why you ever changed from such a great name.
Well, I'll tell you honestly, man, because right now, if I was talking to you and I was a butt monkey at this age, I'd feel weird about myself. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got
you. Much happier being a member of Finger 11 than being a butt monkey. But it was our high school band. It served its purpose. It was great. It was an amazing experience. And it really launched us. The most important thing about the Butt Monkeys was like, it was sort of like dating that person where you're like, okay, I know, like you're sort of like, now I know what I don't like. You know what I mean? Right. Like Butt Monkeys was sort of like that. Like, okay, that was nice. You're not a bad person or nothing, but that's not what I want to do. And that was sort of like, so when we changed from Butt Monkeys to Finger 11, that was a very internal decision that wasn't really looked happily upon by the labels and the managers and stuff. But it was something that we felt like, okay, we want to do this forever, but we can't be the Butt Monkeys and do this forever. It can't be, this is too teenage and too young. And which I sort of like, because it sort of fossilized that moment in time of the band. And it is what it is. It still exists. There's still people that are bigger fans of the Butt Monkeys than they are Finger 11. There's a lot of people who still would rather have a second Finger or Butt Monkey record than have a new Finger 11 album. But it allows our high school band essentially to exist forever. That's neat.
Really cool. That's really cool. How do you feel about it? Are you still proud of that record?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I mean, I actually, if anything, some of it I think could easily fit into the Finger 11 world. There's some of it, like you can hear the heaviness back then even. Right. But some of it, I'm more just like now that I'm older and I meet kids that were our age when we made that Butt Monkey record and I see how young they are. That's blows my mind that we were that age, but we had the naivete to try and make that album. And when I hear it, if we put out the Butt Monkey record tomorrow, would I be proud of it? Maybe not. But we were 18, 17-year-old kids, and it feels pretty accomplished for kids that age, which I'm proud of. So.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, somebody hears, Paralyzer or one thing, and they want to hear more music from you, and they go to the Spotify or the Apple Music. And what would you want them to start with past Paralyzer? The next song that they listen to. What is there one? Do you think that defines the band a little bit?
Well, it's really different because it depends on like the side of the band you want, because there is the heavy and there is the light and there is the funky. I would say, here's what I say. If you like Paralyzer, right, we have a song called Living in a Dream. That's one of my favorite recordings we've ever made. I love the sound of that. I think there's something, we had Rich Christie mix that song, and there's just something about that song. So Living in a Dream. And if you like Paralyzer, that's a pretty, like almost like a sister song to that. Right. I was just listening to our last record. The record's called Five Crooked Lines. There's a song on that called Come On Oblivion. Now that's more trippy, heavier, darker side of Finger 11, but that is something I also would love people to hear. And then, I don't know. I mean, it changes from record to record so much for our band, and it's really hard. And I think in our past, that was probably considered a weakness of the band, or not a weakness, but like not an asset. that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't have one. You know, we weren't that
Can't put you in a
original.
box.
Yeah, we didn't have a box, which we
Right.
didn't know how to make the box. And I think that was, you know, like when you asked about the paralyzer, like we would have had a lot of label very happy if we could have made a second paralyzer, but we couldn't because we didn't know how to make the first paralyzer. It just happened, you know.
Right, right. And I
So
love that, man. I mean,
yeah,
that's the way it should be done.
yeah. I mean, I that's the only thing I know about making music is that guessing what other people will enjoy is not the right way to make music.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one thing that is guaranteed to just, even if it succeeds, it won't be soulful music, and it's just not my favorite thing. So we would have had to be guessed to write another paralyzer. So yeah.
Yeah. I know you got another one, and I want to respect your time. Just a couple things.
Yeah.
Your country music side project, Blackie Jackett Jr.,
Yes.
with James, from the band. Full-length album in 2018. Handful of singles since then. A little busy over that time with that band. Is that band still in, are you still doing stuff? Are we gonna get another record, maybe another single or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, again, there was an early record for Blackie Jackett Jr., and I think it was 10 years between that and the second record. So that seems to be like a common theme for us. Here's what I would say about Blackie Jackett Jr. Like it's not going anywhere, but it's also sort of like the other pedal when me and James are on the Finger 11 thing. When one's up, the other one's down, and it doesn't stop, but it doesn't progress either. You know, so. Right. But you know, like the four of us, the main core members of Blackie, we're all super tight friends, and I would definitely say there'll be something sometime in the future, but who knows when.
Yeah, that's good. It's cool. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like it too. It's a neat it's just a neat side of that we get to play. Like, you know, to be honest, we get to like, it's a lot less responsibility. It's a lot more like just jamming and just less structured. And I think that's what makes it so fun for us.
Yeah, that's great, man. It's great to hear. Mean Beard Company you got. I thank you.
Right on.
Oils and Balms, there'll be a link for that. You got that going on. You got a tour coming up. Tour schedule takes you through Canada for a 13-show run over the end of November, halfway through December. Any plans to hit the US, Europe, South America, anything like that?
US, Europe for sure are on the docket for next year. They haven't been announced, but they're going to get announced soon. And yeah, that is the plan next year, to tour, to just hit the road and be on the road as much as we can, because we haven't had something to play, and we just haven't really sort of done that kind of touring in a long time. We've just sort of kept it to single shows here and there. So yeah, definitely next year. And I know for a fact we're coming to the States. So.
Man, that's great. I'm just outside of Chicago, man. So,
all right.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, you know what? You'll be happy with the bill then, because one of the bands, I don't know, I can't give away too much, but one of the bands on the bill is from the Chicago area. So.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, man. I appreciate you, Rick. Thank you so much for your time, man. And hopefully we can do this again, maybe after the tour, and we'll talk about it.
Absolutely, man. Just ask. I'm always around. So.
All right. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.